Now let us look at another variation of the sum function, which is the SUMIFS function. The SUMIFS function is used to find the total of values in a range of cells based on multiple criteria. That is to say, there is more than one condition. Let us use this simple dataset to find the total sales per item for these items that we have. Suppose we want to find the total sales for red apples only, large eggs only, and green apples only. We would use the SUMIF function as follows. Now, as always, we place our cell pointer in the cell where we want our answer to appear, and in our case here, we want the answer for red apples cells to appear in cell F2. Hence, our cursor is, or our cell pointer rather, is in cell F2. Now, we then punch in our formula for the SUMIFS function as follows. We say equals SUMIFS, and we open our bracket, and we first specify the range of cells to be summed, or the range of cells with the values to be calculated. And in our case, the range of cells with the values to be calculated is from C2 up to C11. These are the actual values that have to be summed up. So we specify that and say C2 up to C11, like that. And then we specify our parameters with a semicolon. And then we specify the range of cells where the first condition is going to come from. Notice the difference with the SUMIF function, where the first range of cells we specified was the range of cells where the condition was coming from. But in this case, we first specify the range of cells with the values to be summed, and then we specify the range of cells with the condition that we have to specify in the SUMIFS function. So our first condition is coming from the cells A2 up to A11, because that is where we want to specify that we want to find the total of values for red apples only. So the first range of cells for our criteria is from A2 up to A11. And then we separate with a semicolon again, and then we specify the condition now. What is the condition in that range of cells from A2 to A11? And we place the condition in our double quotes. What is the condition? The condition is that we want apples. So we say apples there. We are done with the first condition, and then we go on to the second condition. Where is the second condition coming from? Of course, it is coming from B2 to B11, because we want to find the sum of cells for red apples. So the specification of those apples to say they are red apples is coming from the range of cells from B2 to B11. So that is our second criteria range. So we specify B2 up to B11. And then we separate with a semicolon again. Then we specify the condition in quotes in that range of cells. Pardon me, here I have to say B11, separate with a semicolon, and then open quotes so that I can specify the condition now. What is the condition in that range of cells from B2 to B11? The condition is that I want only red apples. And I close my quote and I close my bracket. So with this function punched in, let me just run through the function. Here we are saying we want to find the sum if in the cells C2 sorry, we want to find the sum of values in cells C2 to C11, given that from cell A2 to cell 11, we have apples, and also given that from cells B2 to B11, we have red. So the formula is going to find the sum of values in this range of cells, provided that in this cell range A2 to A11, we have apples, and in these cells um, B2 to B11, we have red. So if we press our enter key on the keyboard, we should be able to have our answer there. And our answer is 2600 as our cells there. And if we are to come back to our raw data here, under red apples, if we go to apples only, we have red apples here and we have red apples there. So 1300 plus 1300 here will give us 2600. So therefore, our formula is correct, the formula for SUMIFS. Now, if we are to find the total of cells for large eggs only, we'll go ahead and place our cell pointer in cell F3 because that's where our answer should appear. And then we say equals SUMIFS, we open our bracket, and our values to be summed are, of course, in the range C2 up to C11, and we separate our parameters with a semicolon, and our criteria range where the first condition is going to come from. I have to say C11 there. The criteria range where the condition is going to come from is obviously A2 to A11, like that. And what is the criteria? The criteria in codes is that we need eggs, large eggs, yeah, large eggs. Close our code, separate again with a semicolon, and we specify the range of cells where the second condition is going to come from. And the second condition in our case is that we want, for example, organic large eggs only. So if we want organic large eggs only, we have to specify that condition. And the condition is coming from cells B2 to B11. So I specify B2 up to B11 like that. Separate with the semicolon and put the condition in that cell range. In the cell range B2 to B11, what is the condition? The condition is that we are looking for organic. We close our quotes and then we close our bracket for the SUMIFS function. So to run through the whole function again, we want to find the sum of values in the range C2 to C11, provided that in the cells A2 to A11, we have an entry that says large X. And also provided that in the cell range from B2 to B11, we have an entry that says organic. And before I can see my answer, I have to go back and make a correction here. I should have a semicolon there instead of a comma. I should separate with a semicolon there, and then we press enter to have our answer as 3500. Of course, if we go back to the raw data here, under large eggs that are organic, we have these large eggs that are organic, and we have these large eggs that are organic. So 1500 plus 2000 should give us 3500. So that is the total cells for large eggs only. Now, if I can do the same quickly for green apples, I would say equals SUMIFS. What is the range of cells with the values to be summed? Of course, it's C2 up to C11. Separate with the semicolon, and the criteria range has to be A2 up to A11, and my criteria there would be I'm looking for apples, but as I'm looking for apples, please go again in the cells B2 up to B11 and look for green apples. Look for the entry that says green. Close my bracket for my SUMIFS function, and then I press my enter key on the keyboard to have my answer, and my answer is 1500 there. So if I go back to the raw data here where I have green apples, I have apples here that are green, 700 are the cells. I have apples again here that are green, and the cells are 800. So 800 plus 700 should give me 1500. So that is the total sales for green apples only. So that's it in terms of how we can use the SUMIFS function to find the total of values in a range of cells based on more than one condition. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you have learned something about the SUMIF function, or the SUMIFS function rather. Thank you very much for watching. See you again in the next video. Bye.